Episode 5 of The Witcher was pretty interesting. It finally matched up two of the main characters uniting, and what a meetup it was. Geralt and Yennefer not only meet up, but they take their meetup to a whole different level. But before I get into the review, if you guys are enjoying the reviews that I'm making and the content that I'm putting up, if you would like, subscribe, and share this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. But this episode here was enjoyable, but in all the ways that I couldn't foresee or have foreseen. I didn't know that I was going to be that giddy, I guess, when Geralt and Yennefer met. And I knew that it was going to be some kind of a hookup. I just didn't know that it was going to take this long roundabout way to get to that point. But at the end of the episode, I was glad that they did. It was definitely not a disappointment, even though episode 4 was such a high note. And for being a follow-up to that really, really entertaining episode, this was not a letdown at all. It still feels that maybe they are adding too much. There's a lot of storylines yet to be, come together, it would seem, but the story is a little bit more cohesive now that we see the different timelines, as I said in my previous review. And once you get that, on episode 4, there's no more aha moments just because you're able to follow. But the Geralt and Yennefer meetup, the two powerhouses, I was expecting maybe at the end of this series for them to unite or actually meet, because they do unite, right? Innuendos implied when they hooked up. But I just thought they would meet more towards the end of the series, but I was pleasantly surprised. Who knew that there was genies, right? And they have the same. It would have been cool, maybe it's just me, if they would have taken the genie concept and evolved on it a little bit more. And by evolve, just make it something other than what we know. Oh, there's a genie, even though he pronounces it differently, but it's basically a genie and the 3 wishes. Maybe it could have been 2 wishes or 5 wishes. I do like the fact that the genie is more of an evil entity as opposed to what we know from Aladdin or Bewitched, shit like that, where the genies are always there to help us. And in this, I think it's actually based on mythology, if I'm remembering correctly. Where a genie will grant you the wishes, but in return it takes something dear to you for those wishes. So I did enjoy that aspect of it. His little sidekick Jaskier or whatever, the one that just sings the tune, give a coin to your witcher. He got kind of caught in where he did 2 wishes, so his voice was getting taken away, which I think the point was that he wasn't the one that was meant to be the wishes. So as punishment for casting or saying someone else's wishes, because I guess being his servant was something to do with it. If you guys can make a little bit more sense of that, let me know down in the comments. And he gets imperiled, and that's how he ends up he tries to find a cast speller, and that's how he ends up going to Yennefer. And that whole orgy scene, whoa, I was not expecting that. And it was interesting. Not a bad choice. I understand where they're going with it, and it was tastefully done within the adventure, within the story. So I'm never going to get mad when they do excessive nudity like this, but when it fits in the narrative and the storytelling that they're doing, I think it was awesome. We didn't see much of Ciri, but we found out there was like a shapeshifter, and I don't know if you guys remember from episode 1, his kind of like a daycare sitter, or just like his protector. I can't remember his name, but he's in the first one, and he helps her escape from the city before he gets captured. He gets killed. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but he gets killed in this episode. But before he does, because they're hunting for Ciri, they need Ciri for whatever reason, and he shapeshifts. This guy just kind of takes his image, and not only his image, he like takes his memories, which is, I wonder how that's possible if you're just taking his image, kind of like the scrolls. They could be whoever they want to be, but in the scrolls, they can only take the power, they can't take the memories. But in this little universe, not only can he take the form of someone else, but he also takes the memories. And he basically goes and tries to find Siri, because they know if she sees a familiar face, like we all would, you go towards them and you feel comfortable. And we see towards the end, he finally catches up with them, which was kind of anticlimactic, given that he's like, you know, Siri's with like some form of the Amazonian, so you would think they would cover their tracks a little bit better, but maybe there's some kind of magic at play where they knew exactly where they were. So we'll see in episode 6 where that leads to. But all in all, enjoyable episode. I was entertained, not a dull moment. Some of the comedy hit, the music hit, the acting was great from everyone. I think the chemistry between I'm gonna call them by their character names, not by their actual actor's name, but Geralt and Yennefer was out of this world in this one. I liked the way they played off of each other. They seemed to elevate their acting when they're both when they were both on camera together and playing off of emotion and reacting towards each other. I thought it was great. So anyways, those are just my thoughts. Highly enjoyable. I recommend you guys, to watch this series. Not only this series, but when you get to episode 5, let me know what you guys thought down in the comments about this episode. And like always, that's a wrap.